Hello everyone. We're going to go into the next teaching on tracking the triggers that are based on unmet emotional needs. Now, you may be wondering, okay, why do I blow up when certain things happen? I need to know so I can stop blowing up, okay? Or you may be thinking, okay, just help me so that I don't get so mad when I am not appreciated or feel like my wife just really appreciates me, okay? Now, I'm going to go into a teaching today that affects every single emotion. We're a body, okay? We have a spirit and we have a soul. Our soul is where there is the record of wrongs. Our soul is our mind, our will, and our emotions. And so when things are triggering us, it's triggering not your spirit, it's triggering in your soul. And there's a record up there, okay, of certain things that happened that made you feel a certain way, okay? So we got to track these triggers. I've shared earlier, everybody, it would be helpful if you had a little workbook, little notebook, something small, smaller than this even, that you can put in the glove compartment of your car, or you can put it, and don't put it on your computer. No, I want it written, handwritten. It's very important. I'll tell you why later. But in your purse, somewhere, track these triggers, okay? So the unmet need we're going to talk about today is affection. Affection. From the moment of birth, it's an emotional need. It's physical, yes, but it's emotional. Every infant that's born needs to be held by both mother and father. Okay? It's very important. And it's not something that we treat lightly because it's biblical. Oh, well. No, it is literally, it's proven medically what happens with an infant that's not held. Infants that are just given a bottle and laid in a bed by themselves, in orphanages and in places where, at least they're given to an orphanage to be safe, but if they're not held, okay, it will create certain issues, psychological issues later in life. But let's not go to there. Let's go to your life. Let's go to what happened with you that triggered you, that we can help you track and see, was it an unmet emotional need for affection? Okay, how are you going to know that? Well, I'm going to read this definition. Affection is important and just equally as important as acceptance. The need for affection is the need to have closeness through physical touch. The touch, physical touch. Every child needs 8 to 10 hugs per day. Every child, 8 to 10. Touches, hugs. It can be a touch on the hand, touch on their shoulder, rubbing their hair. Just touch, okay? Touch. Holding them. It's essential for their emotional health and well-being, okay? Now, your parents may not have known that. Mine didn't. My parents didn't know that. I don't remember a hug from my dad until, let's see, when was it? A few years before he died. There'd been healing, reconciliation. He had come to, know the Lord. And one day I got a sideways hug like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, oh. So you have to understand something. I had to learn how to live and cope with internal feelings that came as a result of not being hugged by my dad. Okay? I coped well with it. Now, you may have too, but these are some symptoms you may have if your mom or dad were not there to give that affection, okay? And I want to say this last thing before I go into the symptoms is affection is calming to the soul. Calming to the soul. Calming. And I'm going to say this one thing more about my dad. Until my dad left our family when I was 9, all I would hear him say is, calm down, little girl. Calm down, little girl. Calm down. Well, of course, I'm not calm. Affection is what calms the soul. I just needed him to put me in his lap. Hug me, hold me. Affection, affectionate touch is calming to your soul, okay? Now, if you've not had that growing up, okay, then these are some symptoms. As an adult, you may be restless. You just can't calm down. Restless. Your mind never stops. Restless. You're always wondering restless in your soul. Restless. Can't ever get settled. Can't ever get satisfied with what God's given you. And satisfied, I mean at peace with God. At peace with what He's given, your family, your surroundings. You're just at peace. With peace with God. But you can't get settled. The restlessness in the soul can be traced back to the lack of affection. Okay, so track the triggers. What causes you to get restless? Okay. Another symptom is being aloof and distant. Okay, aloof and distant. Just kind of modern day terminology, zoned out. Now, I see a lot of people zoned out today. You can go to any restaurant and the husband's on his phone and the wife's sitting there on her phone. There's no communication going here because everybody's on their phone, okay? Zoned out, tuned out, aloof and distant, okay? But that's an indicator of an unmet need way back in childhood, okay? And so learning these things, you have to take steps to heal from the unmet need, but change behavior in the present. Are you uncomfortable being close to people? It's like you get close, no, stay away. Somebody gets close, no, stay away. Okay, come close, stay away is a symptom that indicates there was a lack of affection growing up, okay? Because you become squirmish and uncomfortable even when somebody hugs you. Today, do you feel kind of, you kind of freeze, all right? That can be a trigger, and it goes back to an unmet need, all right? Now, are you cold and unfeeling? It's like you can look at something, a situation, and there's a lot of painful things happening to someone, and you're like, what? Well, why are you upset about that? I don't know what's wrong. You're unfeeling. You're not connecting to them on an emotional level to even feel why they're upset at something, okay? Cold and unfeeling. This can literally destroy a marriage because the wife can be feeling a certain way and the husband's like, come on, get over it. He's not feeling it to help calm her. He's got to feel it to help calm her, okay? But if he's not, she didn't have the calming she needed with that emotional need met. So she's not able to calm herself, so the husband has to enter in. Now, neediness. Woo, that's another big one. Neediness. What do I mean by that? Neediness is you're needing affection. You're needing. So that's kind of the extreme opposite of cold and unfeeling. Someone that has neediness, they're always touching. They're always hugging. They're always reaching out, trying to get this touch connection, okay, that they didn't have. And some people can be annoyed by it, but if they don't understand it, okay? If you don't understand that this is coming from an unmet emotional need, okay, then you won't have, like in a marriage, you won't have the understanding to be able to have grace. Understanding brings grace, okay? Grace, so they can heal and you can have understanding while they're healing, okay? Because in a marriage, if there's one that's needy and one that's distant and aloof, oh my goodness, we got a lot going on here. Because the needy person is getting triggered because the one that's distant is stepping back and not wanting to be touched. And the one that's needy is needing touch. So it can be a real conflict, okay? Now, the next one symptom is flirtatious. I see this more in teenage years, okay? Teenage girls, let's say, who has not had their father's touch, affection, hugs that were clean and healthy, they'll be more flirtatious because they're out of neediness. They're needing touch, okay? They're needing it, but from dad. But if they're flirtatious and a guy touches them, oh my goodness, they think they've arrived and that he's the one. Because they're so needy for touch from dad. So the guy that touches them is meeting a need that was unmet, but then it goes way too far, okay? And I want to say this. I'm going to say this last one. Inappropriate behavior with the opposite sex. That is always rooted in the lack of proper affection growing up. Okay? It's neediness for touch, but sex does not meet the need for touch. It's not calming to the soul. Touch, affection, calms your soul as a child so that you're not so needing everybody to touch you. Okay? It calms your soul. Sex is not calming to the soul. Okay? And sex addictions can begin because it's not meeting it meets this much of the need, touch for, holding hands, whatever. But yet, it's not meeting the need, okay? It's not meeting the need for touch because touch means just calming. All right, it's not meeting the need for affection, even though we put it in the whole box, but the sexual addiction forms because the need is still there. There's a teeny tiny drop of the need being met in an inappropriate way, wrong way, and now you become addicted to it, trying to get more and more and more and more and more of it when you should have had it as a child, daily. Daily as a child. That's why it becomes addiction as an adult. Daily. Should have had it as a child. Now, what's God's answer to all this? God's answer is healing. Healing the heart restores the soul. Okay? Healing the heart. So we track these triggers, and we track them, see what's triggering neediness, what's triggering restlessness. So if you've got restlessness, you can trigger it, and you can go back to unmet need of affection in childhood. Now, I'm going to say this. The need for affection really is stronger from the mother because she's the nurturer than the father. Now, like I said, with young teenage girls, they're needing their father. But if their mother has been hugging and holding and affectionate, it can help tremendously if the mother has been showing affection as a child. But if there was none from father, then there will be the restlessness in the soul, searching out, trying to find, get that need met. Okay, I want to give you a scripture on this one as well, and this is in Psalms 131. This is what David said in verse 2. It says, "Surely I have calmed and quieted my soul." Okay? So as an adult, you got to take this posture as you're going through healing, that you're calming your soul. You're calming your soul, spending time with the Lord, just stepping back from the relationship and realizing this was an unmet need. I got to quit being a child hunting for my daddy, young ladies, or hunting for my mama, young men. Or do you know that men, okay, let me say this, women who have not even had the affection of their mother, they're still looking for mama. It leads to inappropriate relationships with other women. Okay, the unmet need. Surely I've calmed and quieted my soul like a weaned child. Okay, a weaned child. Let's stop right there. Resting with its mother. Okay, listen to me. A weaned child can sit in mama's lap if they're weaned and not be needy to be nursed. Once they're weaned. Okay, once they're weaned. David's saying he has calmed his own soul. Okay, like a weaned child. My soul is like a weaned child, he says. Within me, I'm composed and free from discontent. Is that a word for you? And if it is, I want you to write that scripture down. I want you to put it in your tracking your triggers journal. And I want you to put it as a goal that I am going to, my soul is going to be freed from this discontentment. I'm going to stop looking for my mama. Okay? Stop looking for my mama's affection. Stop looking in relationship, trying to get this need for affection met that was never met. I'm going to forgive Mom. I'm going to spend time with God, asking Him to fill my void places, that I'll know His love, feel the touch of His Spirit, and that I will be able to be, just like David said, calm and quieted in my soul. I want to share the next need really connects with the need for acceptance and the need for affection. The next emotional need that's significant is the need for attention. Okay? The need for attention. It's a legitimate emotional need as a child, and when that need has not been met, then you go into adulthood trying to get attention. Trying to get attention. And you're not aware many times that that's what you're doing. But if you walk in a room and someone doesn't speak to you, you'll feel that need as well. You'll feel like they're not paying a bit of attention to me. So if it's an unmet need from childhood, it can be triggered. It can be triggered just in relationships, because you're needing them to give you their undivided attention, okay? Because that's what you needed from Mom and Dad, undivided. You know, when I grew up, Mom and Dad didn't have a cell phone, but they worked, okay? They worked. Nowadays, I see it all the time. I can go to a restaurant and a baby's jumping up and down and hollering and pitching a fit. Mom's on the phone, Dad's on the phone, and this poor child is trying to get somebody to pay attention to him. Undivided attention. And so you may have heard others say, well, that kid just needs attention. Well, yeah, he does. Because it's a legitimate need. It's just as important as their daily food and water. Emotional needs are just as important as physical needs during childhood, because it sets the whole foundation for emotional health. It sets the whole foundation. And so if the need for attention has not been met, it's going to make you unstable, okay, in your emotional health. Now let me give the definition. The need for attention is a need for parents to show interest and enter into your world. That's undivided attention. Enter into the child's world. Enter in. Not demand that the child enter into the adult world. No, as a child needs the undivided attention, okay, to then feel secure that they are loved and accepted. Now, that doesn't mean every single day undivided attention, but it does need every day. It's a daily need. I used to spend a certain amount of time every day sitting with my children, reading books, sitting with my children, playing dolls on the floor, sitting with my kids, oh my goodness, sitting with them in the creek, playing, chasing frogs, all the things that I would enter into the world. And now I've done the same thing. I don't do it right now, but I do the same thing with my grandchildren. I've got pictures of me in the creek because I entered their world, okay? And so now if I walk up, they're not just, bulldozing me over, needing my attention. They've been poured into, so full of attention, okay? So I need to say this. Attention is important in those early years because then it sets the foundation for teenage years and adult years. Now, as a child, if your parents showed you attention, you felt secure and loved, and you didn't have to do anything to get their attention, okay? But see, if you learn as a child that you want to do something to, pitch a fit, cry, slam the door, whatever, if you learn to pitch a fit as a child, and then you got attention, even though it was negative attention, at least it was attention. Okay, so then it can go on into adulthood that you do things just to get someone to pay attention and enter into something with you, okay? Now, here's some symptoms of it. As an adult, the evidence can be that you're boisterous, loud, the loudest one in the room. Well, then everybody pays attention. Okay, the loudest one. But you may inside have a poor self-image, feeling like I'm not even heard. Nobody cares. I don't even heard. I gotta speak loud to get their attention. I've heard people say that. Well, if I don't speak loud, they're not going to pay attention. But that is an indicator of an unmet need. Mom and Dad didn't pay attention as they should have. They were busy. And so you learn to be loud to get their attention, but that affects relationships, even business decisions, even, your position in church or whatever can be sabotaged if you're always loud. You've got to calm your soul, walk in a room, and not try to demand the attention of the room. And some people say, oh, she walks in the room and she commands the room. Well, we say that's good, but in some ways that person is needing attention and it's a pressure point. I got to get it, I got to get it, I got to get it. There's a restlessness there of the soul. Okay, feeling worthless, I'm not important. Overly consumed with appearance, okay, can also indicate an unmet need for attention, because if you didn't get the proper attention growing up and you wear the latest style, the coolest outfit, or even the most interesting odd outfit, what does it do? It draws attention. So it's meeting a need, but until that need is met with your relationship with God, you'll still be doing it. You'll be 90 wearing funny hair and funny outfits, okay? Needing attention. But if you get your healing, it's calming to your soul, you don't need it anymore. It doesn't consume all your thoughts about what people are thinking about you and your outfits. Okay. And then the last is performance orientation. Okay? Performance. People that have had the lack of attention as a child are needing someone to notice them and pay attention to who they are and affirm who they are. And so they begin performing in order to get recognized, okay? Performing means you're completing things, you're accomplishing things, but it's in order to fulfill a personal need, not do what you're called to do by God, but it's an internal need that you're needing to be met. You'll know if you're in performance by how you handle it at the end of the assignment or the project you're working on. And if you don't get the needed affirmation that you were needing, or if someone doesn't even pay attention to how hard you worked, then you're going to have certain feelings because they didn't even pay attention. That you turned in 5 pages of a report and nobody even commented how thorough it was. So see, that can affect you in your ministry. It can affect you in your position, in your job. And the need for someone to pay attention and give that significant affirming based on who you are, it's a legitimate need in childhood, and it must be healed back in childhood. So I want you to track your triggers again. Track the triggers. What triggers you? Do emails trigger you if you don't get the right response? Do text messages trigger you? All right, what would I mean by that? If you text someone and you don't get a response for 5 days, okay, that can be triggering because you text them and they didn't pay attention. They didn't pay attention to your text. So it does. It triggers pain from the past. All right? I could list a lot of triggers, but I want you to do the work here. Get the workbook, get from our website, Healing the Pain of Unmet Needs, and then get you some kind of a little notebook and track the triggers and get your understanding you need of unmet emotional needs so you can go back and say, oh, that's the unmet need for attention. I needed somebody just to sit down with me and spend time with me as a child. And now I get mad if my boss doesn't sit down and spend time with me. That's what it is, okay? You're ready to quit the job because he doesn't sit down and talk with you. Jesus said he came to heal your broken heart and set you free. He wants to heal you and set you free from the pain. God bless you.
If Living Waters has been a blessing to you and you would like to help support this ministry, you can give on our website, livingwatersministry.com/donate, or text any amount to 84321. We have additional resources for you to continue on your journey to healing in our online bookstore.